Brought to you by BetUS. Use promo code Iceman. You're going to get 125% deposit bonus matching your initial deposit. All the other promo codes on their website is a split between casino and sports. If you use promo code Iceman, that's 125%. All sports only available in Canada, US, and Europe. All right, so UFC pay-per-view coming up, UFC 277. Probably a pay-per-view that's not going to get many buys because it is not the greatest main event or card for that matter. There's going to be some decent fights, but for the main event, I mean, like Juliana Pena is the last fighter to walk out on this card, and just this fight just doesn't wet my nips at all. It's just they could have added another title fight on here, another big fight or something. So let's get to the beginning of the card. Let's start with Nikolai Negermanu versus Ihor Pretoria. So this Pretoria guy is the real deal. This guy is on a huge win streak, hasn't lost since 2017. And, I think that was like his fourth pro fight or something. And then since then, he's on like a 16 fight win streak or something. So I'm going to go with the guy on the huge win streak who's just coming off a quick knockout on the Contender Series, the ground and pound over Lucas Sadolski. He is taking on a tough fighter. He's 12-1, Negermanu. He's coming off a split decision over that Kennedy Ngannou guy. But I think I'm leaning towards Pretoria on this one. So Pretoria it is. And on the early prelims, we got Michael Morales, 13-0, takes on Ramiz Ibrahimovic. Now, this is interesting. Michael Morales, 13-0, just running through people. And he's taking on Ramiz Ibrahimovic, 10-4. I mean, he's lost to Court McGee, which not impressive. Lost to Max Griffin. So he's 2-2 in his last four. His last fight, he did get a rear naked choke over Michael Gilmore, but that guy's like 6 wins, 4 losses, like nothing impressive. So I'm going with the 13-0 Michael Morales on this one. I think the UFC is going to want him to win as well. So what better way than to give him the right matchups he needs? Up next, Drakkar Klose takes on Diego Ferreira. So Drakkar Klose, most of you guys know from that Beneil Dariush fight and the crazy reaction that Joe Rogan and all those guys made when he got knocked out. However, his last fight was impressive. He knocked out Brandon Jenkins to get back on that win streak. He's got wins over Bobby Green and Lando Venata and Mark Jacasey. So I'm leaning towards Drakkar Klose on this one. Yeah, I'm going with Drakkar Klose. Diego Ferreira coming off that rib injury. I'm seeing, did this fight get pulled or something? Is it a new matchup with, is it Rafa Garcia instead? Not, so I think this fight might have got pulled. I'm not too sure. And it might be Rafa Garcia. But on on the ESPN MMA, the website I'm currently on, this is still posted, which is weird. They don't have the odds for it, but I'm taking Drakkar Klose in that one against Diego Ferreira. If that is the fight, if he's fighting Rafa, then I'm not too sure. Gotta check that one out. Next, we got Justin Taffa takes on Don'Tale Mayes. Justin Taffa, 5 wins, 3 losses. Not impressive at all. But he's taking on Don'Tale Mayes, who's just a monster for that division. I think he's like 6'6" or something. And he's coming off 2 straight wins. Before that, he got choked out by Rodrigo Nascimento, and he lost to Cyril Gane, which, no shame losing to Cyril Gane. And Justin Taffa got knocked out his last fight, and before that, he won his last fight by head kick and lost to that guy Jared Vandera, who got knocked out by Chase Sherman. So I think this is should be an easy win for Don'Tale Mayes. I'm going with Don'Tale Mayes on that one. Next, Drew Dober, Rafael Alves. This is interesting because Drew Dober, good fighter, but Rafael Alves is he's no joke himself. He's got some submission wins on his record, and including a submission win over Mark Chikasi his last fight, and then before that he lost to Demir Ismagulov, who's like 22-1 or something crazy record. This is going to be interesting. I don't know why they're counting out Rafael Alves. I don't believe that's right. I'm going with the over on this one, over 2.5 for this card, or for this fight. Drew Dober, Rafael Alves, over 2.5. Next, we got Alex the Great White Morono. This is coming off 3 straight wins over okay opponents. I mean, beat Donald Cerrone, who's 50 years old, not looking great. Beat Mickey Gall, who's not that great either. He's got like 7-3. David Zawada he beat, and then before that, he lost to Anthony Pettis, and he's taken on Matthew Semmelsberger, who's pretty good, 10 wins, 3 losses, and I think in his 5 UFC fights, he's only got 1 loss, and that was a decision loss to Chaos Williams, which was, Chaos Williams got some heavy hands. So I'm going to go with Matthew Semmelsberger on this one. I think he should be able to get it done. I think he should be able to run through Alex Morono. So I'm going with Matthew Semmelsberger. Next, we got the light heavyweights, Magomed Ankalaev. This is the guy the UFC is going to push for the title shot. They want Ankalaev to be the champ at light heavyweight. Just, shown from his last fight, his chin is a little suspect. I'm worried if he gets cracked how good his chin is. He's got an impressive record, 17-1. That only 1 loss was to Paul the Bear Jew Craig, and he was dominating like 14 minutes and 30 seconds of that fight until he got triangled in the last like 10, 20 seconds, which was crazy. I think this fight is going to go to decision, and I think Ankalaev should be able to just piece Anthony Smith up. He's a guy that doesn't force things. He lets the fight come to him. And Anthony Smith, he's a good striker. However, if he wants to win, he's probably going to have to use his jiu-jitsu. However, Ankalaev's got a pretty decent ground game. Other than the fact he got submitted by Paul Craig, but that's Paul Craig. So I think Ankalaev, I'm going with Ankalaev on this one. I think he's going to win a decision. I'm not betting decision, as of right now. I haven't seen the method of victory or what are the odds for that. But I'm just leaning towards Ankalaev, and I think he should win a decision. Next, we got Alexander the Cannibal Pantoja versus Alex Perez. So Pantoja is coming off, last 4 fights. He got 3 wins in his last 4 fights. That 1 loss came to Askar Askarov, who was like 12-0 at the time. And he's taken on Alex Perez, who just lost to Davison Figueiredo 2 years ago. After that, he hasn't fought in 2 years. So this is going to be interesting. I'm going to go with the over on this fight. I think this is going to be a back and forth fight. And yeah, I'm going to go with the over 2.5 on this one. Next, Derek 50-50 Lewis takes on Sergey Pavlovich. Derek Lewis has been fucking me over lately. So, due to his last performances, he looked good against Chris Dawkins, but his last fight he got viciously KO'd by Tai Tuivasa. Who knows how Derek Lewis is gonna look? He's a slight favorite on this one. I don't know if I agree with it. I'm leaning towards Sergey Pavlovich, but who knows? Derek Lewis has got that power, dude. If he touches you, you just might end up dead. And Derek Lewis has the ability to knock anyone out. He's got that power, right? But he just hasn't been looking good lately, other than that fight against Chris Daukaus. But yeah. So let's see here. He's Derek Lewis, 2 wins, 2 losses in his last 4 fights. Like Derek 50-50 Lewis. Hence the name. Sergey Pavlovich, on the other hand, 15 wins, 1 loss. His only loss was coming in his first UFC fight. And I believe he took on short notice, was 4 years ago against Alistair the Overeem, which was a bit different. Alistair took him down and ground and pounded him. Don't think Derek Lewis is going to be taking anyone down. So I'm leaning towards Sergey Pavlovich. Hopefully he's got a good chin and is able to eat a couple of those Derek Lewis shots if Derek does land. But yeah, I'm going to go with Sergey Pavlovich on this one. I think he's a slight underdog too, plus 105. So not bad if you're feeling him as well. Up next, Brandon Moreno versus Kai Kara France. Now, when I first seen this fight, I was leaning towards Kai Kara France just because of the striking aspect. But then I'm like, man, what if this fight does go hit the ground? And they have fought before. So this is a rematch. Brandon Moreno did win the first fight. And I think it might go similar to that one. But however, Kai Kara France looking amazing lately, coming off that win over Askar Askarov, who was like 14-0. So I'm taking the over 2.5. I think this fight is going to just go similar to the first fight. And I think it's going to go the distance again. So I'm betting this fight to go over 2.5 rounds. And this is actually a flyweight title fight. I didn't even know that. I guess Figgy, this is an interim title or something. Or what's going on with Figueiredo? I forgot. I don't really pay too much attention to this weight class. Even though they got a couple decent fighters, but I'm not the biggest fan of the flyweights. It's bantamweights and up for me. Yeah, I'm leaning towards the decision on this one. Up next, the rematch. The champion is plus 250 odds. That's something you don't see very often, and she's coming off finish. She's coming off for finish over Amanda Nunes, which is crazy. She finishes Amanda Nunes in the second round, and she's a huge underdog going into the next one. Because I don't know, I think the weight cut is bad for Amanda. I think Amanda looks way better at 145. I think her cutting to 135 is just draining her way too much. You've seen how bad of a weight cut she had in the first Pena fight, and now she's going to cut all that weight again. Hopefully she's able to do it much better this time around. However, we don't know. I mean, I got to go with Amanda Nunes, the greatest female ever, right? But if she looks the way she did last fight against Pena, I mean, yeah, this is not the most interesting main event. I'm not really looking forward to it too much, but it is what it is. I think Amanda Nunes should get her belt back. If she comes in shape, you can't gas out in the second round against a girl like Juliana Pena. But we'll see. So I'm going with Amanda Nunes on this one. Pretty good fights though. We got some pretty decent fights on here. I'll make a method of victory before the UFC 277 card. And yeah, those are your picks for UFC 277.